Dear Judge Kelly, this is a little workshop, a refresher course if you will, on how to be a judge. If you want to keep the illusion of being impartial and not as corrupt as hell, here are some top tips you might want to consider when next putting children into the care system because their parents reported a paedophile ring. Especially if you have delusions of grandeur, judge, and have been promised, I've been a High Court judge for example, by Letterkenny. There are certain telltale signs that show that you are far from impartial. Just some things to think about. Try to give the illusion of integrity by don't sign the parental access agreement, for example, at the beginning of a court hearing. Kind of tells people what you're already thinking. Don't conduct the hearing at night, 2 hours after the court's closed. This might be misconstrued. Don't refer early in the court hearing to subsequent court hearings. It kind of gives it away that the outcome's already been predetermined. Perhaps you should allow the solicitor for VP Macmillan to not make the rulings for the court hearing. Again, allowing the other side, solicitor, to make the court rulings kinda gives it away. It's worth considering not repeatedly signing your name to illegal documents, such as an illegal warrant to remove our children, or the rulings made by a solicitor in your court the 21st of December, to be specific, or indeed to sign your name to an illegal document on the 13th of January when my wife and I were supposed to have agreed to our children remaining in care. Don't get angry and be also obviously angry against innocent people who've exposed corruption. Don't read out a personal email in court. Some people might see that as you're party to private information. Don't instruct parents, for example, to remove videos of political corruption under the threat of imprisonment. Kinda gives it away that you are working with the executive against an innocent family. On the other hand, Judge, here are some top tips you might want to consider if you really do aspire to high office and you're bored with the shovel and shout of everyday district court work. Number 1, do give parents a chance to submit vital documents and evidence in their favour. Some would call that a kind of primary legal right. Do allow parents to respond to libellous comments instead of threatening to throw parents out of the courtroom when they try to speak. Do ensure that there's actually, now this is important, Judge, I hope you're paying attention. Do ensure there is actually an accusation against parents in your courtroom. Try to give the appearance of being impartial in the proceedings instead of so clearly being prejudiced, discriminatory and biased by not instructing social workers to answer key questions, but rather help them to avoid the truth. Perhaps some of your colleagues of the bench, Judge Kelly, just might, consider some of the following very important. Find an actual accusation against the accused. It is suspicious if you find people guilty, Judge, without levelling an accusation against them. It is perhaps a good idea not to allow the key witnesses to be persons whom the defendants have already submitted criminal complaints about. Some would call that Judicial 101, i.e. people have submitted criminal complaints about certain people, and lo and behold, these parents, we'll call them Brian and Janice Doherty, they've already been dismissed from another judge's court 10 months previously. They then submit criminal complaints about social workers and police officers, and 10 months later they end up in your court being accused of the exact same things by people they've submitted criminal complaints about with no evidence, with no legal justification, with no legal integrity. Some would find some of that a wee bit dicey. It is not normal practice, Judge, to forbid the defendants the opportunity to defend themselves. For example, deny my wife the right to speak in your courtroom. It is perhaps not normal procedure for a social worker to defend a Viscount whom she's not met from another foreign country. This may give cause for people to question your judgment, Judge, if indeed your judgment was anything other than corrupt. Please consider that if the justification for locating a family is because my wife's Masonic father reported my wife missing to Irish Social Services, you may wish to take into consideration that his daughter, my wife, is a 40-year-old mother of 4, happily married. Under European laws, Judge, you cannot be tried for the same crimes twice. It could not have been foreseen that a judge in the Irish Republic would get around this law by taking people to court twice by not accusing them of any crime. Some would call it genius, some would call it madness, but most people judge would call it corrupt as hell. I hope this workshop's been useful. Any feedback, I'll see you at the next court hearing, where you'll probably send me to prison for contempt of court. Cheers, Judge.